When the mother or the father or the caregiver is almost giving us undivided attention, we drink that in. And it's one of the most fundamental cravings that the infant has. They really want to be basked in that attention. And if we don't get it, this is where narcissism comes from, because you literally want to be the center of attention and you can't stand it when someone else gets attention. So I think attention is something really important to explore, is that as we start to grow, we can start to give our attention to things. Now, attention can be of 3 different qualities. I can give you a soft attention. So as I'm speaking to you right now, you could be almost, I'm present with you and I feel available. It's not efforting. There's almost this like, I just feel really enjoying this. I feel available and I'm drinking it in, and then I feel the ability to come in and engage. So this is what we call a ventral vagal attention. A ventral vagal meaning parasympathetic, to rest and digest, feeling just available and ready to engage. That's one form of attention. And then we have another attention, which is like this, where like Mazin's come into the room and I say, oh, Mazin's here. And I say, how are you doing, Mazin? Usually around some sheikhs come into the room. We say, what can I get you, sheikh? And, is everything okay? You happy with the situation? That's the willpower now. We're in a forced, intense attention which we can experience mentally, and obviously physically with our eyes. We can feel the tension in the muscles behind that. Now, and that's the sympathetic, that's the fight and flight or activation. I prefer activation and fight and flight, because it doesn't mean you're actually running away or fighting necessarily. It just means you're on the ball and you're trying to attend to something with a lot of almost effort. Now, that's not sustainable. So what will happen, for example, everyone's experienced this. Say you're at an event and there's so many people around and you're like this and like this and like this. After a while, you're going to get a headache. And then what happens after? You start spacing out. Mm-hmm. So that's the default response. That's going to be the response to too much attention, intense attention. That sympathetic attention is that you go into a dorsal vagal, which is the freeze or spacing out, almost as if you just can't almost. I say your attention can't touch things. It's almost as we're talking right now. My eyes are touching your image, and at the moment the quality is going back and forth between a little bit of intensity as I focus and a little bit of softness. So I'm going in between sympathetic and a little bit of ventral vagal as well. And it's almost as if I can feel my eyes touching you, if that makes sense. And with my attention, I'm touching you. And so it's like, what I invite people to do is assess your attention. If you're spacing out and start drifting off, I say, respect that. Tell me to shut up and let's explore that. Mm-hmm. The problem we make, and society forces us to do this, if you imagine that child's not received attention from the parent, or the parent had their own worries and stresses, so they couldn't attend to the child. That child comes in where their attention's fluctuating between sympathetic attention and spacing out. Rarely get that almost nurturing attention where you just feel, oh, this feels good, we're engaging. And so what they do, they turn up to school and they start spacing out because there's anxieties around fitting in with other children, and that now they're in a new environment that they've got to adapt to. Naturally, they're going to feel intensity, they're going to be spacing out. And the teacher sees them spacing out and says, hey, Mazin, pay attention. But you can't force attention, that's the thing. If I suddenly bring attention, I won't be able to maintain that fixed, hard attention for a short period, and then I'll space out again. If the child didn't receive that attention, so the mother could have breastfed the child, they're breastfeeding the child, they're holding the child, but if they're stressed and worried, the mother, or they're on their mobile phone, or they're somewhere else with their attention, that child knows it instinctively that it's not receiving that attention, because we crave that. It's like a fundamental need. And if we don't get that attention, we live in a world of anxiety. It's almost where is it? Like instinctively, like our nervous system is like, I'm not receiving that, I want it. And we go into our adult life almost in this state of anxiety, yearning for that when I can relax and receive attention from someone. It becomes misguided and misdirected towards things and objects. And this is why we live in an ADD society, an attention deficit disorder society, because we don't receive attention, we can't give attention.